All right, this is the copyright disclaimer. The copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Fair use, fair use, fair use.
Girls, don't ever marry your second choice. He is not the man you still think about at 2 a.m. Don't marry him. Every girl has that one guy, the one who ruined her for everybody else. You never get over him. You just learn to live without him. He set the standard. Every kiss after him feels weaker. Every I love you sounds quieter. You also compare silently every single day, even on your wedding day. You settle for safe because Dangerous broke you once again and you swore to yourself, never again. You'll say, I'm happy, while staring at the ceiling at night, wondering what he's doing right now. Your physical body will be in the bed next to your husband, but your soul will still be in that old car, that old motorcycle, the old apartment, the old version of you that felt alive. You'll teach your daughters to never settle while secretly knowing you did. One day you will see his name pop up or hear his favorite song and your heart will skip a beat like you're 19 again and you hate yourself for it. If he is not the man who still owns a piece of you, don't put his ring on your finger, because second choice love turns into first class regret. Marry the man that you cannot live without, not the one that you can live with.
Many of these women don't want their husbands to know that they married their second choice. When you're a woman's first choice, you know. She'll move to you. She'll take your last name. She'll convert to your religion. You will know. Most men will never experience that, unfortunately. I don't say this with a happy heart, but most men will never know what it's like to have a woman actually respect your authority. You go to him with your problems. You listen to him when he tells you something. You don't argue. You don't psychoanalyze. It is just a different experience when a man is your first choice. And most men have never experienced it. And when I talk about women get a cleanup guy after, most women, they're with their second choice and they don't want the men to know. So the next thing that women do is reputation destruction. Now, the number one way I have seen women ruin reputations by saying they lie in the weirdest way. They lie by telling half-truths, things that are, I guess, partially true. For example, about Pearl taking an L. Most people have taken an L in life. That's true. But then they'll take this is the trauma. They just love being victims. They love it.
This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 3, verse 1, and it reads, They say if a man put away his wife, and she go from him, and become another man's, shall he return unto her again? Shall not that land be greatly polluted? But thou hast played the harlot with many lovers, yet return again to me, saith Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai. Giving all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai B'Hashem Rahak HaKodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of the great millstone who rule well in teaching me this 100% truth. Salutations to them and my fellow Akim who labor in this truth week in and week out on the highways and byways. Also salutations to the hopeful elect of the scattered 12 tribes of Israel, scattered to the four corners of the earth, that be like unto the speckled bird, also known as your Israelite foreigners and your so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. To you I say Shalom. This is your brother Ayashah Barazar from the Indianapolis branch of the Great Millstone, coming back at you with another lesson that is edifying to the elect body of the nation of Israel. All right, you saw those two videos, and starting to see more like that. Now that a lot of women are starting to realize that, hey, body count and excess number of kids by different men disqualifies a woman for a long-term companionship as opposed to her not having a high body count and a bunch of kids by different men. All right, now we do know uh, hey, for a woman, you know, women and men are not the same. You know, especially when it comes to this truth. You know, as I've taught before, adultery for a woman is sleeping with another man that's not her husband. Okay, her husband is the first man that she sleeps with. You know, as long as he's alive. All right. When he is deceased, she's free to marry again. All right. You can get that with this in I think it's 1 Samuel chapters 25 through 27 as it pertains to Nabal and his wife Abigail and David. You know, Nabal died, and David was able to marry her. Okay, she was free from that law as long as her husband was dead. Okay, you know, adultery for a man is sleeping with another man's wife. Okay, which is again involving King David. You know, when he slept with Uriah the Hittite's wife, Bathsheba. All right, that was adultery. Uriah the Hittite was still alive. All right. So that's the difference between with adultery. And a lot of you women, you know, you really believe that you are the prize. No. Okay. The first commandment given to a man and woman was to be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth. Okay. That command was actually given to the man, you know. All right. Because he was the ruler. You know, you'll get that in Genesis 2. All right. The Lord breathed in the nostrils of Adam, which is, you know, the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. You know, gave Adam the Holy Spirit. Okay. So, with that being said, that was given to him. All right. And you women, you know, you got to understand, you know, the whole biology of things are coming full circle now. All right. Your ability to bring forth children expires while you live. Okay, let's make that very clear. Your ability to bring forth children expires while you live. You know, and for the man, his ability to you know, deposit seed expires when he does. Okay. His ability, all right, to deliver sperm dies when he does. Okay. So that just goes to tell you, or show you, you know, how we are much different and have much more value, especially when it comes to that first command. You know, be fruitful and multiply. All right. Point blank, period. However, you know, you women want to think something different. You know, the Lord is dealing with the men. Tells you that in several scriptures. Okay, especially when it comes to that wisdom. You know, Proverbs 8, 1 through 4. Okay, let me grab that. Book of Proverbs, chapter 8, verse 1 through 4. And it reads, doth not wisdom cry, and understanding put forth her voice? She standeth in the top of the high places, by the way in the place of the path. Verse 3, she crieth at the gates, at the entry of the city, at the coming in at the doors. It says, unto you, O men, I call, and my voice is to the sons of man. All right, so distinction right here. Unto you, O men, I call. Okay, he's dealing with the men first of all, and then it says, my voice is to the sons of man. That's the elect men of the nation of Israel. Okay, let's make that clear. All right, but here again, you know, those women are starting to understand, you know, hey, when you have more than one partner, you are messed up. And, you know, the second person is who you're selling for. It was never supposed to happen. All right. Everything is out of order, mainly because of Esau. This is the book of Romans. Esau, Edom, the wicked, according to Malachi 1 and 4, who is the so-called white man. You know, the earth is under his rulership right now, according to the book of Job, chapter 9, verse 24. All right, this is the book of Romans, chapter 7, beginning at verse 1. All right. It says, "Know ye not, brethren, for I speak to them that know the law," okay, "how that the law have dominion over a man as long as he liveth." Okay. Yeah, we're under grace right now. But, you know, the scriptures tell us, according to Judges 5 and 11, you know, we're supposed to rehearse the righteous acts, you know, in the places of drawing water, roughly paraphrasing. Okay. That means in the places of drawing water is where we're in servitude at. All right. Verse 2, it says, "For the woman which hath an husband is bound by the law to her husband so long as he liveth." All right. So long as he liveth. "But if the husband be dead, she is loosed from the law of her husband." And you know that within itself is very, very spiritual. You know, and that's really with the Lord. You know, when that man you know dies, you know, like I said, when he dies, you know, his ability to replenish the earth dies as well. The seed is always with that man until he dies. You know, a woman, not so much. She comes to a certain age, you know, somewhere between the 40s and the 50s, maybe even 60s, that, you know, she, you know, can't bring forth children anymore, can't bear children anymore. But that man can go, like I said, as long as he's living. All right. But that's, you know, hey, you know, then that woman's married to that man. It's like, man, how does her body know that, you know, he's gone? You know, that's something to really think about, you know. But nevertheless, when he is gone, she is loose from that law, you know. Verse 3, "So then if while her husband liveth she be married to another man, she shall be called an adulteress." Okay, so yeah, that's what, you know, they were saying in that video. You know, if you've been with someone who had sex with a man, you know, and you're not marrying that man, everybody else after that is, you know, it just doesn't work. And now they were saying after 5 men, a woman can no longer pair a bond. But heck, really, it's after 1. You know, based on what they were saying, it was 2 different women on 2 different occasions. You know, she's gonna be always thinking about that first one. All right, but a lot of you really believe you're equal to man, and you destroying yourself. And you know, in that day when it comes time to you know, be with an elect man, you know, you have ruled yourself out. You know, the Lord has not given a man a wicked woman. You know, that's what Sirach 26 and 23. You know, a wicked woman is given as a portion to a wicked man, but a godly woman is given to him that fears the Lord. Roughly paraphrasing. Yeah, it's no joke. All right. Read verse 3 again. "So then if, while her husband liveth, she be married to another man, she shall be called an adulteress. But if her husband be dead, she is free from that law, so that she is no adulteress, though she be married to another man." And that's like I was saying, when you go and get that account of Nabal and Abigail and David, you know, even though David, Nabal was dead, you know, you can, when you read and hear more about Abigail, it still refers to Abigail as Nabal's wife, even though he was already dead and David married her. All right, but she was free from that law because he had passed away. But another thing here, for you women that's in those Christian churches, you know, and I was there too. I got married in one too. So, but when they said "till death do you part," that's talking about you, the woman. That's not talking about the man. That's talking about you. until death do we part. You know, them so-called Christian churches want to well, you have one wife. That's for a specific office. I believe it talks about bishops and deacons having one wife, and that's when we were in captivity too. All right. So, but when it comes to our laws, you know, hey, that's talking about the woman. That's not against the man. Let's get this. This is the book of Exodus 21:10. And it reads, if he take him another wife, her food and raiment and her duty of marriage shall not diminish. Another. What does that word mean? Another. Let's get that in the blue letter. That's Exodus 21. And 10. The word another, if he take him another, other, following further, other, different, others, another, next, following. Okay, Strong's definitions. Let's see. Properly, hinder, generally, next. Okay, other, etc. Another. So it's more than one. Okay, following, next. All right. Let's look a little bit deeper into that. This is Deuteronomy 21. Verses 15 through 17. Here it is, plain and simple. If a man have two wives, one beloved and another hated, and they have borne him children, both the beloved and the hated, and if the firstborn son be hers that was hated, all right, so then it shall be, when he maketh his sons to inherit that which he hath, that he maketh not the son of the beloved firstborn before the son of the hated, which is indeed the firstborn. So here again, you know, he said if he have two wives, so he's got more than one wife already. All right. And you know, us men, you know, we know some women are with it, some brothers can deal with it, others, hey, you know, you have to stick with what you got right now. You know, it's not feasible to do it. You know, as Paul said, you know, all things are lawful, but all things are not expedient. All right. So you just got to be careful with that. All right. Because you're still susceptible to the laws of this nation. All right. So, yeah, he's saying here, you know, if the firstborn son, comes by the woman that he hates, that's still the heir, no matter what. He gets the first inheritance. Point blank, period. No changing that. All right. Verse 17. But he shall acknowledge the son of the hated for the firstborn by giving him a double portion of all that he hath. For he is the beginning of his strength. The right of the firstborn is his. All right. So, yeah, it's pretty much straightforward. But for you, you women, hey, you know, things are coming back full circle. You know, the ancient ways are starting to return. You know, those two women may not know the truth, but they definitely understand what's behind it. You know, that's why, you know, and it is what they say, that dumbass slogan, happy wife, happy life. You know, you got a partner or two or three already before you get married, your ass will never be happy. Never be happy. You know, for that reason. You're always looking for someone to match up to that first one. Always, and now you see why guys are so hell bent on knowing that body count. All right, you may not tell them, but it's gonna give off one way or the other, especially with the elect man. The Lord is not playing that. He is not playing that with his men. All right, this is Proverbs 19:14. It says, "House and riches are the inheritance of fathers, and a prudent wife is from the Lord." A wise wife is from Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. It's from. All right. So, like those, in contrast to what those women are saying, you don't do the picking. All right. Especially for the righteous man. The Lord does that. He did that with Adam. Genesis 2:23. He brought, let me just grab that. He brought her unto the man. All right. Genesis 2:22. Salaki says, "And the rib which Yahweh our power had taken from the man made he woman and brought her unto the man." Okay. They had not fallen then. Adam was righteous and pure. So he brought the woman unto the man. All right. Like that prior scripture say, from the Lord. Sirach 26:23. All right. A wicked woman is given as a portion to a wicked man, but a godly woman is given to him that feareth the Lord. All right. So, just know, hey, the Lord is watching all of this. You trying to hide it, but when you end up, ass out looking around for somebody to cover you, you ain't got him. Hey, the Lord already knows. Man ain't got to know your exact count. The Lord know you wicked, and He already said in the scriptures that He's not gonna, only that good woman is going to be given to that good man. Point blank, period. It's not going to happen. It's Proverbs 15:3. And it reads, "The eyes of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai are in every place, beholding the evil and the good." The evil and the good. So you trying to hide your stuff, it's going to be found out. Yeah, the Lord, the scriptures say the Lord cares for His elect. All right. And He ain't going to get that man no raunchy ass, hoe. That's going to cause him to go into adultery. Because, that's what happens. You be hiding that stuff. All right. You sleep with that other man and he don't know that you've been with somebody. You made him an adulterer. All right. Just like, if he put you away and you go to another man, he's made you one. So, time is at hand. Especially with you Jake women, But a lot of you all so far gone, I don't know what to say. You just probably gotta wait to be reincarnated before you can fix that shit. All right. So with that, I hope this lesson was edifying to the elect body of the nation of Israel. Once again, I'm going to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, B'Hashem, Yahushai, B'Hashem, Raha HaKakodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well in teaching me this 100% truth. Salutations to them and my fellow Akim who labor in this truth week in and week out on the highways and byways. Also, salutations to the hopeful elect of the scattered 12 tribes of Israel, scattered to the four corners of the earth, that be likened to the speckled bird, also known as your Israelite foreigners, and your so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. To you, I say Shalom, Kwam Yasharallah, Abba Babal. Shalom, we got next.